Agents, we are in changing times, and what you say absolutely matters. Connect to Zoodealio's brand new, hot off the press script book that will give you the tricks, tips, and insights on how to convert clients today and ultimately to attract winning conversations. Today we have a ton of information around what you say matters and being able to speak intelligently to your prospects. Now, the beauty that we have here at Zoodealio is we have the experience of the instant cash offer. We have the experience of the digital dashboard to be able to articulate the different offers and options that are going to apply for your clients. So one of the biggest things that we have been working on, I would say probably about the last month, is updating the What You Say Matters, which you can find in your marketing library. So a lot of what I'm going to be going over today is brand new, fresh, hot off the press. Like I said, I think I did sprinkle in some pieces of scripts a couple weeks ago. But those of you that are actively looking to grow your business, actively looking to ultimately close more transactions and net more commissions in 2024, you're going to really want to listen up, because this gives you the frameworks of not only how do you recruit people in, but what do you say to them after they come in. Maybe offer one doesn't work for them. Maybe they were just kind of tire kicking and they want to look at their initial options. Well, how do we harvest that person so that when they are ready to transact, they choose you to be the agent that represents them, whether they elect to take a cash offer or end up putting their house on the market. All right, with that said, let's dive in and go. Like I said, I would really appreciate the question that I asked. Again, I'm going to just reiterate that because I'd love to see some conversation jumping in on this. The proposed settlement that's happening with NAR that rolled out a few weeks ago, the $418 million, that the buyer compensation is going to be removed from the MLS and that you must get a buyer broker signed up front with that disclosed amount of what your cost of services are going to be with that buyer before you even take them out and show them properties. Are these practices already coming into place in your business? That's question one. Question two, I'm curious, in your local markets, how much are agents talking about it? Are you hearing about it from your team leaders? Are you hearing about it from your owner and just, office leadership? I'd be, like I said, curious to know. All right, let me share my screen and we will get moving. So like I said, this is a whole new content book that is available for you, and what this is making sure that you look at the frameworks of, hey, what can we do to attract that success in every single conversation, because there's always a proper path and there's always a way to ultimately harvest that lead. Right? So many people have relationships with existing agents, and part of one of the things that makes you a true pro is being able to constantly grow your sphere of influence, right? How do we take a not met, a lead, somebody that we have their name, telephone number, name, email address, they interacted within your website, somehow you have an opportunity for them to know about you and your products and services that you bring to the marketplace, right? We want to take those people and get them involved in your special offerings, your unique value proposition that you're constantly bringing to the marketplace, okay? So what I want to do real quick is give us a bit of an overview on this here. I know Kayla had shared with me this morning that she had touched on this a couple weeks ago as well. And ultimately, when we really look at this, right, there's so many reasons why we want to double down on sellers. Number one, here at Zoodealio, we've been doubling down on sellers for day one of inception. That's what Zoodealio focuses on. And one of the number one reasons around that strategy is over 60% of the people that have a house to sell are also going to buy a house. Over 60% of the people that are buying a house also have a house to sell. So sometimes one of the best ways to go out and have those conversations with these buyers that we're talking about is by seeing if they have a house to sell. Sometimes finding the best way to find sellers is through the buy side. So I don't want you guys to forget about it and abandon some of those buying strategies, because there's absolutely a path to compensation. There's so many strategies that we're going to be touching on here to make sure that you navigate these changes of what's going on, and ultimately you're earning the proper compensation that you deserve and that you're bringing on both sides of that transaction. Okay, so one of the things I want to just kind of look at real quick for us here is this study that was done by a National Association of Realtors that really kind of, what are the most important things? And look, when you look at this per this survey that was done, right, you have people that are looking for help selling the home within a specific time frame. That's a big one. For, you know, again, if you look at this per the stats and the age groups, those are absolutely massive chunks of things that people are taking into heavy consideration when they're going through that selling process. Now, also, if the house was to happen to need a little bit of TLC, so many people are very aware through, you know, HGTV shows or Flip This House, etc., how much more money you can make if the property is improved. So being able to help them navigate some of the changes, or property improvements to help sell for that top dollar is something that you're absolutely going to be able to get so many people to raise their hand on. So if you can have that specialized offering, and you're capitalizing on that and bringing that to the marketplace, again, you're putting yourself in home selling conversations, and you're ultimately bringing a strategy to the marketplace that the majority of your competition is not. So what I want to do is let's take a look at some frameworks on how are we going to ultimately grow this, right? Because again, our business is always going to grow to the extent that our audience does. Now, I believe this is a 16, 17-page manual that you guys are going to have that you will have at your fingertips to be able to kind of go through. So now, one of the biggest things out there for me, and you guys, I would imagine, have heard me talk about this quite a few times, is a mistake that I would say so many top producing agents do is they'll double down on a niche, right? Because that niche will help them do a lot of deals and ultimately, you know, have good production for the office, right? Like for me, for example, I was great at working canceled and expireds. Yes, it was highly competitive, but we came up with a program that we called HSA, the Home Seller's Advantage, and it was just a very clear marketing plan and strategies. It was a whole package deal that we delivered in a presentation, and, you know, we absolutely crushed it. Now, with that said, we got so good at looking for just business in that particular source. Well, you do that for a couple years' time. Not only did I create relationships with people that I didn't necessarily win their listing, but I absolutely earned their respect as a professional, to the point where sometimes they would come back and say, hey, we ended up selling our house ourselves, but we were so impressed with what you brought in that time that we would like for you to work with us in finding a house. Right? So that's the domino effect that I want you guys to be thinking about in this when we see that word database. Right? Now, I think that there's so many things today that are at your all's fingertips to help you solve this in a capacity like never before. Even down to Instagram, you know, Facebook, the whole meta piece, Snapchat, TikTok, etc. Well, that's what I want to, you know, I think that that's an opportunity for us to not only showcase our professional intelligence, our professional expertise, but then also showcase our personality, our lives, tell the story, right? I think that that's one of the biggest things that gets missed in the business opportunity that we have, is that sometimes when you look at a marketing strategy, if it's failing, a lot of times it's missing because of the story. You know, I've learned a lot of these strategies from Russell Brunson. I will say I've never met the guy, but he's absolutely a mentor of mine, and studying his books, .com Secrets, many of his books, to where one of the biggest things he always doubles down to is telling the story, right? Down to when he's introduced, that's part of his introduction, is being an American storyteller. And the whole point of that is giving that as the assembly. So what I want you guys to really double down with here is when we are building that database, just because you have their name, their contact information, and you're dripping on them, from, let's say that you're using the Zoodealio launch campaign that has incredible performance stats. But with that said, we're not telling the story. They're not building a relationship with you. Well, then we're technically failing to ultimately build a relationship and use the camera, using the broadcast systems that we have that allow us to get so much of our time back, because I'm not having to pick up the phone and build a conversation one off at a time. I'm not having to type off individualized emails, individualized text messages to really try to cater my message to that one specific person. I'm allowed to share, some things that are going on with my family. Tell the story of going to Little League games, around having to operate a business while juggling family life, right? These are all things I want you guys to be thinking of that you'll see within these scripts that not only give you the opportunity to showcase the unique value proposition of how you're ultimately going to solve the problem, which is what they're going to respond to, but they also want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And the number one way to do that is to tell stories so that people have the assembly with you and your life. And so again, I just want to make sure that we take time to remember that piece of it and doubling down on that. All right. So on this, when you guys have access to this, these are already in the marketing library that you're going to have access to, but these are actual hyperlinked, as you can see here, where it's the A to Z Facebook strategies, blast marketing, that you have there, and what that's all about. Being able to just kind of really put automated marketing so that your messaging is constantly in front of people, right? Okay. So let's kind of start diving in and start looking at some of these scripts on a lot of this, okay? So one of the biggest things, I'm not going to read these verbatim, especially a lot of these, because these are just social messages. You guys can copy and paste them, tweak them, make them your own as far as this goes. But what I want you to know is it's all about in the beginning, right? Before we can sometimes build that relationship, we do need to bring an item of value. And that item of value sometimes needs to be a unique piece of value, right? Like every realtor in the entire country, right, roughly the 1.5 million that are actively there, and we know those numbers are falling, but let's just say the million plus realtors absolutely bring value, right? The ability to open a house, the ability to find information in the MLS that they can't, right? Like as far as realtor remarks, the showing instructions, etc., right? There's definitely a value proposition, and they can also, comp and value properties in a lot of things, even if they just got their license an hour ago. These are all items of value that they can bring. But what I really want you guys to prompt you guys to be thinking about is, all right, there's the body of what this value prop is. That's almost kind of the norm, just with the title or the job criteria that you have to have. Well, what can I bring to my audience so that I have a conversation starter that I know the majority of the other agents that I potentially am going to go up against are not bringing? Okay, so for example, right, if you look at this second line in the email here, we have a new home selling program that allows you to sell with no showings, pick your close date, and ensures full market value. Okay, now these are just, again, simple highlights of the value props that you guys are going to have within Zoodealio's menu of cash offer options. Now, the other thing I want to prompt you guys to do on this is to be thinking about how are we going to not only capture the opens, but also capture a click? So inside of this, right, for me personally, I may build a button that says, explore a cash offer for your home. Explore your home's unique selling options. Hey, if you're not in the market, click here and still see what your home's unique selling options are, right? The whole goal of that is to try to draw them in so that we are capturing that engagement. Now, the thing I want everybody to remember here with this is that most sellers, and when I say most, it's probably like 95% plus, start that home selling journey usually 6 months in advance, right? A lot of times it's 18 months where they're going to start, kind of getting the itch, planning, etc. It's usually only a massive life change that something happens quickly and they need to sell the house in less than 6 months. Otherwise, it ends up being a little bit more of a process. Hey, where are we going to move to? Why do we need to move? What exactly is happening that we want to be able to upgrade, right? So most of the time people will be looking, or starting the process of selling their house by looking for a new house to see what's out there. And that's an opportunity for you and your IDX systems to say, got a home to sell, click here to see your home's instant selling options, right? Get multiple cash offer options and strategies on your home, click here to see what your home qualifies for, right? So these are ways that you can backlink these things. And then from there, you can also run that and reaffirm that on your particular emails. Okay, same thing with text messages, right? So in reference to the text message, remember, a good email with an amazing subject line is going to have anywhere from, 50% open rate is obnoxiously high, right? That is a top performer, usually very valuable information to that particular audience. Text messages have a 90 to a 95% open rate, right? And that's only recently fallen as some of the short codes and et cetera are out there that I think that there's a little bit more marketing that's gone on in the text message world, which is what A2P was about, I think, a year ago, et cetera. Is trying to put a little bit of a lid on some of that. So these are things, again, remember, when if you have a list of 2,000 people and you have their cell phone number and you send out a bulk text, right? You be careful in that situation. So I personally like to pull people through the process, unless I have some banger ad, as I like to refer to it as, is where it's like just a real clear UVP, run to the races, blowout offer, et cetera, right? I'll let you determine what that might be, but that's when I'm potentially going to text a whole bunch of people that I don't necessarily know, because again, you could get reported, et cetera. So I want to urge you to be very cautious in that particular area. Now, with that said, when I have a list of people, right, that's more of my raving fans, my list of 500, 1,000 people that I have that know me, like me, trust me. When they think of me, they think of real estate. When they think of real estate, they think of me, right? Those are the people that I'm going to be usually broadcasting this type of message out, right? So for example, I'm going to jump ahead here in the script, but let's say I had Blast, right? Hey y'all, it's Elliot. It's been a minute. I hope you guys are doing well. Hey, just wanted to let you know about a new home tool that we are releasing right now that monitors your home's value, gives you trends and insights on a monthly basis, and you can even refresh it instantly. Really cool stuff. Click the link and check out your home there, right? So it's something very, very simple, highly engaging, again, to the people that are usually my raving fans and a heavier audience, right? So I kind of jumped ahead on that piece. But there again, that is exactly what this is designed to do, is make sure that you are being consistent, top of mind, tip of tongue, in front of your audience. Okay? Now, the other thing, for so many of our members, I have the people that are willing to, do the work, I guess what is to be candid, are having crazy success. What I mean by that is they are not just sending it out and sitting back and waiting. They are absolutely sending it out, and then they're calling 50 people that day and saying a very, very simple script right here, right? This intro call, info needed, right? Let's say that you already have their information, just because I want to give this, let you guys know this script first. It's just, very simple of, hey, Delisa, it's Elliot over at ABC Realty Team. Hey, I just wanted to give you a quick call because I shot you over an email for a new tool that we've given to our clients of where you can monitor your home's value. It even gives you the unique cash offer options that qualify for your house, whether you guys are looking to sell or not. But it also gives you data data on your neighborhoods and some other insights that you may find extremely beneficial. Just wanted to let you know it's in your email box. It's going to be an email that's going to ask you to claim your home. After that, you'll automatically get a monthly report, and it's really cool stuff, right? When you do that, a lot of times you're going to leave a voicemail, because most people, that's just how right? Answer rates 15 to 20%. So the majority of the time, I'm going to leave a voicemail, and I'm going to leave a voicemail something like that. If I get them on the phone, of course, I'm going to try to make small talk, and I'm absolutely going to be on purpose, and I'm not going to sit here and try to be on the call for 25 minutes and talking about Joey's soccer game, etc. Yes, I want to build rapport. I want to talk about a few other things, but I'm just going to literally say, hey, I'm being on purpose right now about some of my calls. Why don't I give you a call back this afternoon, and I want to catch up with you on it, right? Like, especially if it's somebody I've done multiple deals with, I have a better relationship with. But I just want to be very, very clear on this, that when you get on purpose about these things, you'll be able to create a lot of structure. Don't get diverted so easily, right? Be on purpose about the task and complete the task that you have at hand, okay? Now, again, you guys can check out the follow-up email. This is a huge one, right? So this is one of our most requested items of assistance, right? I would say talking with the offers team on a very consistent basis. A lot of people are like, hey, I got a cash offer, or I requested the cash offer. Exactly how should I go deliver it? What do I do to use the cash offers to ultimately build the tool, especially if they don't like the offer, right? Let's say that, maybe the offer is very competitive, but it's in a more rural area and the reserve is a little bit more than they want it to be, and you believe it's really just more of a conversation starter, which sometimes happens to be the case, right? So here's what I want you guys to do in that. It's a very, very simple conversation, right? Because they're going to see so just giving us the proper use case here, the user story. This is where you guys sent out your website from a marketing or advertising standpoint, and that homeowner clicked on your link and requested a cash offer themselves. Okay, so they are going to instantly see the offers and options upon registration with that. Okay, so this is a very simple conversation. What you want to do, again, is call them up and just, hey, Kayla, it's Elliot over at ABC Realty Team. Hey, I wanted to give you a quick call because I see your house on 92nd Street just came in, and it was able to get you 5 different cash offer options for you. Did you have an opportunity to check all those out? Awesome. Hey, well, what I want to do is actually learn a little bit more about your house so I could potentially see if I could get you a little bit higher of an offer. Now, I got a couple quick questions for you. You got just a few seconds to answer those for me? Awesome. Hey, how long have you lived in the house? Okay. And over the time that you've had it over the last 5 years, have you and your wife or you and your husband done any upgrades to the property? Okay, very cool. And of the, as it sits now, are you guys looking to do any improvements? Does it need any TLC, anything like that we should know about? Awesome. Hey, what is the best closing date? Most of the time when people are looking for a cash offer like this, they're usually looking for a set time frame. So I wanted to know if that's your case. Hey, well, one of the last things I need here is to be able to verify condition to go back to work for you on this. Would you be able to do me a favor? Take the main photos of like the living area, the kitchen, the backyard, and a new one from the front. Yeah, I know that the photos on Zillow may reflect it, but they like me to get updated photos so I can go back to bat and we can make a more intelligent offer and give you more of an exact one. Okay, awesome. Hey, well, after you get this home sold, where is it that you guys are planning to go next, right? So that's that slew of questions as I pull through this. And as you guys can see, I just progressively pulled them through. And that last one, of course, is hey, after you get this home sold, where is it that you plan to go next? Well, great. If they're looking to buy another house, which 60% of them are going to be, well, guess what? We just landed a 1.5 transaction and gives us the ability to look at things from a more dynamic fashion. And what are we going to do to win these people? Okay? So again, I want to urge you, quadruple, double, right? Or double, quadruple urge you to double down on learning these just simple frameworks of questions. Now, one of the things I want to tell you guys, as having led, I don't know, dozens and dozens of sales professionals and scripts, the entire process. Own the script verbatim before you start trying to make it yours. absolutely okay to throw on your sizzle, your little flair, and how you would want to say things, but you must get down the core piece of the script first, okay? All right, so I want to talk a little bit about this, this word. I think sometimes in our industry that gets negative connotation, or some people look at it as it's like a bad word, and that's the word prospecting. So what I'm going to share with you guys is I'm a big believer of there's three main buckets in our real estate world of generating business, okay? Number one is prospecting. What prospecting means to me is when I'm going to dig, find, search for people that I can have an immediate conversation with, right? I'm bringing the conversation to them, okay? Marketing. Marketing is where I'm broadcasting an offering to an audience on some form of a medium, okay? That can be social media, that can be mail, that can be all kinds of different things that, even a text message, right? I know sometimes people start looking, or an email, right? Those are all different marketing mediums where I'm really educating an audience about a unique value proposition or some type of call to action that I have, okay? Third one, advertising. Very similar to marketing, but now I'm paying to get my message in front of that audience, okay? Different from mailing, because mail obviously costs money, but this is really where I'm running more of an ad, usually on a digital medium in our modern times, of how I'm going to now give that value proposition. Now, the one thing I want to let everybody know is you can obviously get very sophisticated on this with the retargeting, ad sets, all kinds of cool things. So let's talk a little bit from now on how are we going to geographically farm, right? So geo-farming is a term I've had people, very experienced agent recently ask me, what is geo-farming? I'm not that familiar with it. Well, it's geographical farming, which means I'm going to farm in an area, right? I'm going to go look for business and harvest people from an area on the map, like, a subdivision, a zip code, really more of a set land parameter versus database farming, which is where I'm already taking a set of people that I know, I have their contact information, maybe their even if it's just such as something so simple as an address, and I'm going to mail to those people from that database, right? And I'm going to try to get them to register, maybe giving me a telephone number or an email address, and I'm going to have some type of call to action such as, hey, get your homes free, get a free monthly home report with cash offers and unique selling options, right? That would be a call to action to get them to register and gain that email address and gain that telephone number so that I'm able to deliver that value proposition, and then ultimately get an opportunity to earn them as a client. Okay, so geo-farming. Let's talk about this real quick, okay? Because a lot of times this is going to be people that we don't have any information, right? I'm going to go in, I'm going to meet up I'm going to go to PropStream or Property Radar, and I'm drawing, a line in the map, I'm pulling a subdivision, a little subset of the zip code, etc., right? Well, I'm not going to be able to launch that launch campaign to them just yet because I don't have their email addresses, right? This is where we are going to have to either mail to them or we're going to have to send to them a postcard, okay? You can absolutely door knock your farm, and, again, give them an item of value, do a door hanger, door drops, right? There's all kinds of little different things that you want to do. Here's a couple of simple scripts for you guys to be able to tap into on that. I'm not going to tear into these too much because I want to give you more of the framework of what I really want you to get to. So part of how you're going to grow a massive database, which is ultimately going to lead to you doing massive amount of deals, right? When you take your database from 200 to 1,000, massive change. When you take your database from 1,000 to 5,000, massive change. Then, 5,000 to 10,000, then onward and upward, right? Once you start getting to 10,000 people, well, if you just look at the statistics on that alone, right, where the national U.S. turnover rate is a little over 5%, right? Which means 5% of the people are going to sell their house out of 100. Okay, so if we start doing the math on that, we start getting into 10,000. That's a lot of people that are going to sell their house statistically, right? And again, remember, over 60% of those people are also going to buy a house. Now we're in a boatload of transactions, right? You're running a massive rampant business. And then when we get to 20,000, 50,000, et cetera, right, you're talking about some really, really big opportunities. So the reason why I'm wanting to just be so clear on this playbook for you guys is because when I can acquire their information, getting them to register, engage, well, once I get their email address, number one, I can, do some different types of retargets, et cetera, in Meta, if that's, something that you know about. But mainly, you're now able to have different unique value propositions and campaigns that you can run to them. So for example, one of the ones that you guys have at your fingertips is the launch campaign. So as an FYI, you can find this in the marketing library inside your Zoodealio account. Then you click on campaigns and you'll see a tab launch campaign, and it will give you instructions on how you can download this and upload this into your CRM. This is without a doubt one of the #1 ways to start generating new business within using Zoodealio's call to actions, okay? So, framework. You are going to select an area, right? Then from there, you want to take one of the letters inside of Zoodealio, and you're going to have that call to action inside of that letter. One of those is going to be, hey, for example, if you're mailing to homes in a certain zip code that just expired, okay? Or you're mailing to a subdivision that maybe has a higher turnover rate, 8, 9, 10%. And what you're going to say is, hey, I have a cash buyer that's looking in your neighborhood. And one of the things that's super unique about this cash buyer is they improve the property and then give you the difference. Let's see if your home qualifies today. Click the link or go to elliotscashoffer.com to see if your home qualifies, right? So these are just different little things that you guys are going to be able to do. And again, you can find these letters in the marketing library, but these strategies are all about helping you grow your database so that once I grab these people, whether they're ready to go right now or they're not going to sell for 12 months, I'm able to keep my value proposition in front of them month after month or week after week so that ultimately I'm going to at least put myself in a home selling conversation. Okay. All right, let's get to one of my greatest pastimes. This is a big one. So this is for the bold, right? One of my biggest things on this is I will absolutely say that depending on where you're at in your business, depending on where you're at within your database, you have to decide, okay? So if you want to do more transactions right now, this is one of the ways to do it. Is it high rejection? Absolutely. Is it a lot of work? Absolutely. Do you have to become very good at what you say and think on your feet like a boss? Absolutely. But this is where, no question, you can navigate these changes, help a ton of people, and ultimately do a boatload more transactions, okay? So I'm going to give you guys a couple of things here. So the first one is one of my, again, favorite pastimes, old, canceled, and expired. So in our times right now, not as many homes are canceled and expired because there's less homes on the market. People are able to get higher prices, et cetera, even with our crazy interest rates. But due to less inventory, that's what's going on. So what I want you guys to be thinking about in this is, well, what if you were to pull a list from LandVoice, for example, right? They have the service that they have that they can get you X number of homes within zip code 1, 2, or 3, and they're going to give you, and they scrub them to make sure that they have not resold, and you get their contact information. Well, now I'm able to call them and have a conversation just like this script right here. Hey, Brian, it's Elliot over at ABC Realty. Hey, I wanted to give you a call real quick about your home on Vero Way that left the market that didn't sell back in December of 22. Does that ring a bell? Yeah, we're not going to sell, etc. Hey, well, I get all that, but I had a quick question for you, because I got a cash buyer that's been, kind of vigorously looking inside this area. If we were able to make you an offer that made sense, and you got to pick your close date, any time between, now and even the next 90 days, depending on your family's needs, is that something that you'd be interested in learning a little bit more about, especially with all the equity growth that's gone on, right? I'm going to keep it very, very simple. And then, just again, kind of going off a little bit of script here, again, when you guys understand the offers and options, giving you a little bit of a pro tip here. If they come out on this, I'm going to go back to those core questions that I asked before. I'm going to ask about like improvements of what have they done, et cetera. Then I'm absolutely going to come in and say, hey, well, what if I could interest you in a really unique opportunity where the buyer buys the house, they'll actually rehab it, managing it all, then they actually resell it. And the crazy thing is that when they resell it, you actually get all of the additional profit. Pretty cool, right? They're gonna be like, what do you mean? How does that work? Et cetera, right? And of course, from there, that's where we're able to educate them on the actual option, what it is, how it works, structure, et cetera. But I tee it up and ultimately spotlight a true unique value proposition, right? There's not too many other agents in their market that are going to be able to give that offering to them like you can. So again, that's where I just, again, get really crystal clear on the core script, double down on the knowledge, and then from there you'll be able to pivot and use these types of things so that either way, whether they take the cash offer deal or not, you're going to earn that business because people want to work with pros, right? People want to work with, that awesome jet fighter pilot expertise. And that's what I want you guys to do. So one of the things that I want to do here for you just briefly is actually talk about objection handling, right? There's a whole section on objection handling. So rather than objection handling be just scripts, because most of the time, yes, there's scripts to it, but it's more of a framework and an art. When you receive an objection, one of the best things that you can do is pause and slow down your speech. So many times people will speed up their speech when they get pressure and nervous and they get uncertain, right? Especially if it's a very, very difficult, oh my gosh, all you realtors are just the same. Why are you calling me? Where were you when my house was on the market before? No, I'm not paying you. Can't you see the lawsuits that are going on out there? You guys are a dying breed. You're just not worth it anymore, right? Some of the crazy stuff that's absolutely being said to us as an industry. Hey, I'm sorry that's your experience. And just let me get this right. You don't feel like agents have the value anymore? Being able to pause and almost kind of reaffirm what their objection is one of the best things that I've ever experienced in getting really clear so that we remove that objection. And I guess really ultimately handling and navigating that objection. And the best thing that you guys do when you do that is you position yourself as the true professional that you are. So remember, pause, repeat back what they say, and then overcome that objection by outlining what the value is and the difference that you're bringing by them working with you exclusively. That's the key in the framework of overcoming any objection, okay? So, and just as an FYI, we gave you a couple of word for word scripts on that. But again, I was more, as the professionals that you guys are, I want you to understand the framework and the importance of all of that. This is a great one. Advertising is a massive one because I think it is the most underutilized tool within the realtor body as a whole, okay? A lot of your go-getters will absolutely prospect. They will do a fair amount of marketing, but sometimes they will not be as advertising based as they could be. Then people that are really good at advertising a lot of times are not as good at prospecting, right? So this is where I want you guys to remember that being able to showcase your personality and tell the story like we were talking about before is wildly important to your success. So here's a script that I want to share with you, right? And just so we're clear on this is a video that you can absolutely send to a homeowner, right? So now you're already doing something different. Everybody else is trying to call these people. You can, number one, you're going to be able to see if they're Android, iPhone, right? There's all kinds of little nuances that you can do by sending them a video, text message, those types of things, right? And so these are things that you can absolutely do over an area as well. So you can run an ad on this, right? And if you have the ability to broadcast, the ad, drop a pin per radius, etc., you have this as really kind of two options. Number one, send a one-off video to that homeowner. Number two, run this as an ad, right? Hey, did your home just expire off of the MLS? Yeah, a lot of sellers right now, due to these change in interest rates, are having a really hard time getting that home sold. Hey, and that's why I wanted to tell you about a new cash offer program that we have that's a game changer for our clients. Many homeowners who are considering selling their home that potentially need a little bit of work, and maybe why that house didn't get sold, instead of you wanting to work with or being forced to work with an investor that is going to give you a low ball offer, picture this. You're able to sell your house for full market value on your timeline, and then the buyer is going to manage that rehab. And the best part is, once they've renovated it and they resell it, you actually are going to get all of those profits coming back to you. Pretty cool, right? So if you're curious about your home and to see if your home qualifies, take a quick few moments and go to elliotscashoffer.com or just click the button below, and you'll instantly see the cash offer options that qualify for your home, and you'll be able to be in the know, right? So again, just that's where I think practice, and again, giving you guys another quick little tip. One of the ones I used to use for like teleprompter was like Big View, which it's something I could literally put the script, right, a teleprompter on my phone. My phone is recording me, and I'm just kind of reading it, and it looks like I'm being able to say it offhand, right? So give you a little bit of a pro tip on that. So again, highly encourage you guys to be able to look at that, nail that down, and then just send it to your list of direct expireds, and then also be willing to run it as an advertisement, okay? So you do those things. These are all going to be leading to things that are just going to make a massive, massive difference in your business. And with so many agents probably fleeing the business, your business is going to grow like gangbusters, because not only are agents going to become in way higher demand because the numbers are going to be shrinking, you're going to be navigating or helping them navigate these tumultuous times that are potentially going to be coming for buyers, right? Buyers in general. So like all those people that are selling a house, these buyers, now they're not going to have the potentially as clear representation, right? When agents are not lining up to work with them the way that they once were. There's just so many things, right, that I think that are TBD at this particular point. So position yourself to represent those people, get your unfair share, and ultimately dominate and crush it in this market. Hey, if you're getting value out of this video, make sure that you like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so that you are notified every time we drop new content. And as always, please remember to share this with a fellow real estate professional. Thanks.